Is Jon Jones running scared of Tom Aspinall? Watch this video. Hello, welcome to Tommy Edson. I hope you're all well. So a very quick video here. As we know, Jon Jones came out in an interview a few days ago. Basically, he's saying no to Tom Aspinall, the interim heavyweight champion of the world, the UFC champion, of course. He's saying no because he obviously wanted this fight with Stipe Miocic, and that's going ahead very, very soon, as we know. Two senior statesmen getting into the octagon for one last hurrah. And it seems a little bit daft to me that you're having this fight anyway, but we are where we are. But then Jon Jones is saying, well, regardless of what happens in this fight, especially if he wins, of course, well, Tom Aspinall hasn't earned his spurs yet. He hasn't earned the right to fight Jon Jones, which is absolute nonsense. And he'd much prefer to go with a fight with Alex Pereira, which we can all agree is a great fight. But it's not the fight that you should be having. Your fight should be against Tom Aspinall. He's the guy. He's the interim heavyweight champion. He's the one. Now, for me, as I've always said, Jon Jones should have given up the heavyweight title anyway because he couldn't defend it. He was out for too long. He was holding up the division. Whereas Tom Aspinall has been active. He's been fighting and he's been beating all the top 10 guys anyway. So he's definitely earned the right to be in the same space as Jon Jones. But Jon Jones has been saying, no, I don't want any of this. Now, he's already done the Stipe Miocic fight, or, he's planned it. So he sidestepped Tom Aspinall anyway. He wouldn't give up the title, so Tom Aspinall could be crowned the actual heavyweight champion. Now he's talking about a big money fight with Alex Pereira, who's going to have to step up in weight. Now, for me, this is just absolute nonsense. There's no problem you fighting Alex Pereira, but you're not going to be the heavyweight champion. You cannot do that. This is going to, we're entering the realms of kind of celebrity fights or marquee fights or whatever it is, but they're not title fights. They're not bona fide total fights. Now, for me, this is exactly the same thing that happens in boxing. You get to a certain level, then you start dictating who you can fight, who you should fight. You start protecting yourself a little bit. If that's the case in boxing, much of that is based upon there are too many bouts. There are too many bouts in the game. And boxers aren't made to fight the number one contenders, or there are too many number one contenders to fight, basically, so you can't just fight them all. Whereas in the UFC, there is only one contender, or there's going to be a top 2 or 3 guys. If one is injured or just had a fight, then you go down the pecking order. That's the way it is. But Tom Aspinall has been right there, right at the top for so long. Jon Jones has been ducking him. This is shameful ducking. This is just absolutely ridiculous. For me, Jon Jones, who should have his bout taken away from him. If you're not going to be fighting the guys that you should be fighting in the weight division that you're in, then you should vacate that bout and let Tom Aspinall just take on to the next generation. And if you want to have your marquee fight with Alex Pereira, then go ahead and do it. It's just really disappointed. And you know what? This fight this weekend, yeah, we're all going to be watching it. We're all going to be thinking, who's going to win out of these two? But they're two older dudes, let's say now. And you think, well, this is not a title fight for me. The title fight, and UFC was kind of raised on this, or we've been raised on this UFC mantra. It's the best fighting the best. There's no ducking. There's nothing like boxing in UFC. Well, this is exactly what's been happening. Dana White has allowed it to happen. UFC has allowed it to happen. Jon Jones has been dictating this for way too long. He shouldn't be given any privileges. He was out of the game for too long. Then he came back in, one fight Cyril Gane, and then he was off injured again, and he's just been holding up the whole division. For me, vacate the bout. Tom Aspinall becomes heavyweight champion. Then Jon Jones has to challenge him. If this is the way he wants to go, he has to challenge him, because this does nothing against his legacy. We still say that he is one of the greatest of all time, but this is just smearing his name too much, his legacy too much for me. Yeah, you want to have this fight with Miocic, fine, but it shouldn't be for a heavyweight title. You want to have a fight with Pereira? Yeah, it shouldn't be for a heavyweight title. This should be against Tom Aspinall. Now, if you fight Tom Aspinall and you beat him, then you could say, okay, fine, I want the Pereira fight. For me, that's fine. There's no problem there, because you've proven everybody wrong. You've proven all the doubters wrong. You've beaten the number one guy, the heavyweight champion. Who else is there to fight? You could argue, right, then you fight Alex Pereira. Now, for me, if you really want to settle something, you get in the octagon with Francis Ngannou in a mega fight. That's the way it goes. But that's for another video. This is shameful fight ducking for me from Jon Jones. He should be ashamed of himself. Dana White, UFC, in fact, it should all be ashamed of themselves. The only one who can hold their heads high here is Tom Aspinall and actually Alex Pereira. They're the only two who can really hold their heads up high because they're the ones who've been fighting and taking the UFC by storm. But Jon Jones just letting himself down, letting the fight fans down, letting the whole system down. If you like what I do here, just keep on watching the videos. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And I'll catch you again. Another video coming very soon. Bye now.